Hello everybody, Seraphin here. Welcome back for more Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. Today, this will probably be the finale with regards to completing the game and getting the endings squared away. Well, at least getting the dialogue out of the way. Well, we're going to do an epilogue after this, but this will be the last episode with regards to actual gameplay. Regardless of how long it goes, hopefully not too much longer. Like I said last time, there's not really that much more to do, so we're going to get that wrapped up and we're going to move on. So, let's see, Ike is a level and a half yet from capping. He's going to have to fight a few things to get to that benchmark. I think we'll allow him to take out a couple of paladins. It should be enough to get him most of the way there. Nephany is going to clear out one of these sword masters because Boyd is not really in a position to deal with that quite so well. And she definitely is, so let's take out this guy. This will probably cap her, I think. This should cap Nephany. If not, it'll put her awfully close. Taking out high-level sword master with silver blades is usually a great way to do that. Yep, there we go. We have a capped Nephany, and sadly, she's not going to cap any more stats out. My Nephany in my other playthrough that I just finished managed to cap defense, which the soldier cap, even for a female one, is 28, if you can believe it, and she managed to get there. I was impressed. I've never seen that before. I will say, this is definitely the most HP I've ever seen on Nephany. Even in my other run, I think she ended up with like mid-30s total. Now, granted, I didn't use like a Seraph robe or anything on her like I probably should have, but it's neither here nor there. I think I'm going to leave that bishop for Ike in case he needs it. Let's go ahead and clear out this sword master. I'm not super duper concerned about that bishop healing anybody, because I fully expect to be able to finish people off in a single round of combat rather than having to worry about them get... Wow, that was interesting. That was a whiff fest if I ever saw it. What is that, S-rank access for Boyd? Yes. So, I believe getting S-rank actually does improve your hit rate slightly. Oh, that guy's Meteor. I forgot all about that nonsense. And, of course, Boyd is directly in the range of that, so we're going to need to heal him up. As you might imagine, Boyd is not spectacular at taking magical hits. His resistance isn't awful by any means, but it's not fantastic either, so in order to avoid him getting picked off accidentally, we're going to heal him up. Jill is still here, and we don't need her to be, but that's okay. I might let... Well, that guy's almost assuredly going to attack Boyd with that Meteor spell, so I don't think there's any reason to think that that won't happen. What level's Oscar? 16... What is Astrid at? 17. Okay, well, let's finish off some more guys here. I think now might be the time to use the Night Killer. At least after I pick this guy off, and I'll have Rayson heal him up and throw the Night Killer on him, because that will mean he can take those Paladins out that much quicker. I like how he's proccing Soul all the time now. That is hilarious to me. It's funny, too, because I don't know if I explained... I can't remember if I explained in depth how the mastery skills work in this game, as far as using the occult scrolls to get the master level skills, depending on what class you are in these characters. It's a very different situation in Radiant Dawn. And I know I'm talking a lot about the sequel that we haven't got to yet, but I guess in the event that I don't end up playing it, I'd like to just explain a little bit, just because I like explaining it. But suffice to say, the mastery skills in this game, in order to teach them, you require those occult scrolls that we've seen. And I believe in this game you can get 4 of them. That's assuming that you recruit Stefan in Chapter 15, assuming that you either recruit or steal it from Toronio in Chapter 21, and I think the other 2 you just kind of get. You get one from Hafed in Chapter 28, right before the Black Knight fight, and that's it. Now, there's one other one that you get for free. I can't remember where you get it exactly. But you get 4 of them. And the sad reality of the mastery skills in this game is that most of them aren't really worth it. Depending on what skill you get is entirely dependent on the class that you are. So, for example, Oscar has Soul. Every paladin horse-mounted character will get Soul. So, Titania would get Soul, Astrid would get Soul, Oscar would get Soul, every other Cavalier, Paladin, mounted character would get Soul, including Mist, by the way. Mist gets it too, if you decide to use it on her. And Soul is probably one of the best mastery skills in this game. because it is the only way outside of having a healer or using vulneraries, elixirs, etc. to heal yourself. And it's nice to be able to do self-sufficient healing outside of needing to have a healer around all the time or rely on potions. Especially because vulneraries are kind of bad. Especially at later stages in the game, when you only heal 10 hit points, that's your whole turn. It's not really what you want. Especially when your characters all have 40, 50, maybe even 60 HP. Having soul around to just keep yourself topped off, got a reliable hit proc rate, and it's so good. So I tend to put soul on nearly everybody that can use it when I'm playing through, because it's just the best use of those scrolls, outside of giving Ike Ether. Ether is by far the best mastery skill in this game, there's no question. But there actually is a case to be made on higher difficulties of this game for not giving Ether to Ike, and instead giving him a different skill combination. Specifically because of the differences in the Ashnard fight in normal/easy difficulty versus hard or Maniac. Maniac being Japan exclusive. I guess I'll go ahead and tell you now. I told you at the beginning, I believe, when I started doing this chapter, Ashnard on easy or normal difficulty does not move from that spot that he's currently perched in. He will stay there, no matter how much you attack him, no matter what you do to him, he will stay right there and not move. Which is good, because, well, you can't hurt with very many people, and quite frankly, he's terrorizing. And if he manages to hit anybody other than people with really, really high defense, he will probably one-shot them. Given the fact that he has, what, I think 55 attack? Yeah, there's not many outside of a bulky... so Ike will not cap strength this run, that's awesome. Outside of the really, really bulky characters like Generals or Paladins or even Ike that can take a hit from Ashnard. So having him be able to fly around with 10 movement and just wreck people isn't a great idea. Sadly, on Hard and Maniac, he does do that. He will, as soon as somebody is in his range, he will fly right at them and he will beat them half to death. And if you can imagine, his stats are even higher. I believe he caps out at 28 speed. Obviously, no Bjork can double him right now because you can't get higher than 30 speed on a Bjork. Tabarn and Naysala have above that cap, and they can double him, I think. I don't remember how much speed Tabarn has. I know Gifka can't, he's only got 28, but I believe Tabarn has 32 or 34 speed. Nasala's got like 40. He can double literally everything, but Nasala is also the weakest in terms of physical damage of the 3 Laguz generals that you have access to. So I think he's capable of doubling Ashnard, but at like, you know, like 3 or 4 damage a hit. It's not a lot. But suffice to say, he does move around a lot, and even Ike with Ether, proccing Ether is not as reliable. And there's actually a much better skill combination for Ike that can basically make him one-shot Ashnard, which is hilarious to think about. But some people will choose to go the Wrath and Resolve combo, which is insanely potent, insanely powerful, and borderline broken, arguably. But suffice to say, when you are below half health, you trigger both Resolve and Wrath. Resolve in this game is absurdly overpowered. When you're below half health, it increases your strength, skill, and speed by 50%. So if you've already got really high stats in all those areas, you know, like Ike tends to, then he becomes unhittable with all the extra speed he gets. He'll never miss with all the extra skill he gets, and he'll deal a huge extra chunk of damage with all the extra strength he gets. And Wrath increases your critical hit rate by 50% when you're below half health, which you'd be like, okay, big deal. But even though Ashnard's armor protects him from crits, it does not protect him from Wrath crits. In fact, there's a lot of skills that negate non-Wrath criticals, meaning that if you have Wrath, you ignore that limitation. So giving Ike an extra 50% crit, and Ashnard already doesn't have any luck, so he doesn't have any crit immunity, other than the innate ones he gets from his armor. It gives you a 50% chance to crit Ashnard with 50% extra damage, and Ike's strength cap would put him at, what, 44 attack? So that would give him another 13 on top of that, so 57. So you do 22 damage, raw, crit, which becomes 66, and I believe Ashnard's got 80 HP on Hard Maniac. So that darn near one-shots him, which is absurd. Obviously, you won't... And actually, with Resolve, you will double Ashnard, which means you'll hit him for another time. Even if you don't crit, that's another 22, which means you can literally one-round the final boss on the hardest difficulty with that combination, as long as Ike is under half health. And fun fact, if he takes one hit from Ashnard, even with capped HP, capped defense, it will put him just below half health and ready to proc that. So it is entirely possible to retaliate and kill the final boss in one round, even on the hardest difficulty with Ike and the Wrath Resolve combo. I've never personally used it, but I have seen it done, and it is exactly as scary as it sounds. And I don't think it'll come as any shock that they heavily nerfed that combo in Radiant Dawn. Both Wrath and Resolve were nerfed into the floor in Radiant Dawn. They're both still in the game, but I believe Wrath has a 30% HP threshold instead of 50, meaning you need to be below a third of your HP for it to even work. And Resolve no longer increases your strength by 50%, just your skill and your speed, which is still really good, but not nearly as potent as it once was. And I think Resolve also has a 30 HP threshold. It might be still 50, I'm not sure for that one. I'd have to look, but it's not nearly as potent as it is in this game, as I believe it goes without saying. So Ike should cap here pretty quick. I think he only needs maybe another kill, maybe two. Let's see what his experience looks like after this fight, because I wasn't paying attention, I'll be honest. We still need to worry about capping Boyd and Oscar, and I'll be honest, I don't know that it'll happen. Yeah, one more kill for Ike should do it. And I honestly don't remember if you get XP from killing Ashnard. I don't think you do. That sounds weird, but I really don't think you get any experience from killing him. I guess that doesn't sound that strange, considering he is a final boss, and what would you need experience for once you level him out, because then the game's just over. But I don't know. That's a good question. I have to look into that. I don't remember if you get XP for killing him or not, or even attacking him, let alone. We'll keep the Hada Clear on him for now. Yeah, if I do end up capping both of these guys out, it'll be really close. What is Boyd at? 17 still? 16. Yikes. Oh, he's almost 17. It'll be close. I think we can do it, but I'll be honest with you guys, I don't know. And Astrid, needless to say, probably isn't going to get there. Although she does have Paragon, that might help. Part of me wishes I had made a little bit better use of my bonus experience this playthrough. In retrospect, I really didn't. There was a lot of better instances when I could have used it to better effect, and I just didn't. That is my bad. But, I mean, I'm really just kind of playing through this casually. I'm not expecting to be... This is not going to be a perfect run by any means. And in order to do a really perfect, even a transfer run, you would need to play Subsequent because of the added benefits that you get. And needless to say, we're not getting that. So, that being said, I don't think this is going to take much longer to wrap up. Ike only needs one more kill. That Rex Aura guy, well, actually, he might try to sleep Gifka again, won't he? I don't want these other guys to go for him, though. I want them to go for my people on the flanks. So, I think what I'll do... You know, I could just park Gifka next to Nasir because he has Boon, which will immediately heal any status conditions. So we'll just park everybody next to Nasir and Ike right here in case that Bishop comes any closer. I want to leave Elincia out of the range of that meteor. Her resistance is plenty high enough, I think. 18, yeah, she's fine. But I don't want her to get hit by it regardless. She's not very fast, Elincia, unfortunately. Now, that being said, if you take the time to train Elincia in this game, she can become really good. But I don't know that I can necessarily advocate for that. Because, yeah, you get another flying sword user who can also heal, which is great, but she can heal plenty well even without any investment. And making her a combat unit... She has a really awesome sword, don't get me wrong. She has a brave sword that is unique to her that never breaks, which is great. But you really don't need it, and she's just better off as a healer. She's a lot better in Radiant Dawn, I will say. Holy smokes, is Elincia good in Radiant Dawn. I love her to death in that game. I mean, I love Valencia to death in general. She's one of my favorite female characters in Fire Emblem, period. Such a well-designed character, such an awesome character. I have nothing bad to say about Valencia in any respect. But she's just not as usable as I otherwise would think she would be in this game, with regards to her using as a combat unit. She's really good as a healer still. That will never not be a contention, but you just don't need to worry about putting any effort into her. And quite frankly, she comes so late, it's really hard to train her. And if you're focused on doing something like a transfer run, you're just not going to have the time or the resources to put the energy into training her. It's just not viable. So, sorry if that's what you were hoping for with Valencia, but keep her as a healer. Definitely keep her around because she's good for that. But that's the only thing you should keep her around for. It makes me sound horrible saying that out loud, but it really is the case. Let's go ahead and huck a tomahawk at this guy, because I don't want him dropping meteor. I'm surprised he hasn't dropped that meteor on anybody. He's got it, he's just not using it. It's really odd. I don't know if that's a bug or something, but I guess I'll assume it's probably not the case, but who knows. Alright, that's level 17 Boyd. Really wish I could have thrown Paragon on him or something. Resistance? What? What in the world? I don't know. Whatever. Anyway. It feels weird kind of keeping all my other guys back from this battlefield right now, because I just don't need them. But that's okay. Alright, now that that meteor guy's gone, I can feel a little better about moving people forward. Not that far forward, Valencia. Thank you. Let's go ahead and heal up Boyd real quick. Not that he needs it, but I like to keep my people topped off just in case. I want to make sure that Halberdier does not go for Ike, because I don't want him to. I want him to go after Boyd. Doesn't look like he's interested in doing that. That bishop will break his sleep staff after one more use. Alright, let's just get this going here. I'm hoping I can make that Halberdier turn around, maybe. I could unequip Ike and leave him in the way, and just have him deflect his spear off me until I get Boyd close enough. Another trick that I like to do sometimes. If you don't want someone to get experience out of something, just unequip their weapon. You can't do that in the GBA games, actually, believe it or not. You cannot unequip weapons. Anything they have in their inventory that they can use, they'll automatically equip if they can. But in this game and in Radiant Dawn, if you don't want someone to retaliate and just take a hit and be a meat shield, you can just say, put your weapon away and stay there and don't move. And it's really nice, and believe it or not, it's actually more applicable than you might think. It's very nice when you want to train up a lower level unit, especially during some of the, maybe during the middle game portions, when you have characters that aren't quite as capable as some of their more advanced counterparts, that you want to give a little extra love to, and having a beat stick around that can take some hits and just stand in the way and let your weaker guys get some extra hits in and some more XP is really great. It's especially great, I think, in Radiant Dawn during Part 3, because you've got meat shields like Gatry, who will just stand there and take literally no damage from nearly anything physical inclined. Or magical tanks like nearly every mage you get. Magic is less of a problem. The other thing, too, about having someone just stand there as a meat shield, they get, you know, an XP point for deflecting a hit and not countering, but if you have a healer standing by, you can have them heal off the incidental damage they take and give them some extra XP, too. And extra XP for your healers is never a bad thing, at least not in my opinion. I'm actually going to unequip the Ragnell and let Ike base tank this Halberdier until I can get Boyd over there to deal with him. And Oscar can go handle these paladins. He's level 18 now, right? 17. Oh, he's almost 18. One more kill and he'll be 18, so he might cap. Unfortunately for Oscar, he's one of the examples of people who actually needs the extra help. It's sad, though, too, because something to note about transfers, or its stats in general, really, is that characters can sometimes be very limited by their class maximum stats, like their stat caps. Oscar is one of those people. Not in this game. In this game, his stat caps are actually incredibly generous. I believe it's 26 strength and skill, 25 speed, or 27 speed and defense. Very good numbers, very solid numbers. Yeah, he's capped strength and skill already. He's 2 off from capping speed, and with that Night Ward, I'm willing to believe he'll probably do it. He's not going to cap defense, sadly, but Oscar, when you get him in Radiant Dawn, he actually already has very high strength or skill and speed, but he's also very near to capping it. And the cap really isn't all that high. I think the cap for a Paladin is like 24 for skill and speed. It's lower than I would have liked it to be, especially if you transfer him, because I think he'll join with like 22 in skill and speed, so he's only 2 off from capping. And at that point, he's like, well, I can't go any further than 24. So what was the point of you giving me those extra stat points when I was just going to get him anyway? Nice level for Raisin. Wow, it's a shame he can't fight, man, because I think he'd be really good if he could. Not physically, obviously, but like if he could cast magic, holy smokes, would he be absurd. Especially considering he's untouchable magic-wise. Absolutely untouchable. Alright, let's kind of move our guys up here. But it's a shame because there's a lot of characters with really fantastic growths in certain areas that are held back by their low caps. Because their growths will get them to that cap very quickly, and then it's like, well, now what do I do? Like, my speed's awesome, but it doesn't go any higher than what it currently is at. Now, there is something to be said for that, actually, in Radiant Dawn. It's actually a good thing for you to cap stats early on in Radiant Dawn. And that sounds weird, but there's actually 3 tiers of promotion classes in Radiant Dawn. That's the only game, I believe, that does that, except for, what, Gaiden? Which is the second one, or I guess Shadows of Valentia is the English remake. Well, they remade it in Japan too, but it's the only instance of that you can play in English. But the 3rd tier of classes is really cool, because if you work on capping stats in your 2nd tier, and let's say, how do I explain this? It's actually a lot more complicated than it sounds, but it's also not. So in Radiant Dawn, there's still bonus experience, like you've been seeing in this game so far, where you can just give people free XP, free levels outside of combat, which is awesome. I love that feature, and I think Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn are the only games where you can do that. There are other examples of games in the series where you can just grind indefinitely, like in Sacred Stones with the Tower of Valny or the Lagdao Ruins, or in Awakening where you can do infinite side battles. Same thing with Fate's Birthright and Fate's Revelation. You can do infinite grinding. You can't really do that in most games, and having the ability to give people XP outside of combat is incredibly valuable, because it saves you the trouble of having to baby them on the battlefield and hope that they don't get killed while you're trying to level them up, while they do pathetic damage in the case of under-leveled units. But it's just so nice to not be able to have to worry about that. But in this game, it's just straight, here's some XP, here's a level up for free, and you get whatever you get from that level. In Radiant Dawn, it's different in that when you give somebody a level with bonus experience, they will always gain 3 stat ups. No more, no less, unless they have too many caps. They can't exceed their caps, obviously. So, for example, if you have all but 2 stats capped and you level up, they're only going to get 2 stats. But what's really nice about that is you can abuse it really easily. And I say abuse like it's a bad thing, but it's actually a lot nicer than that. I think I can get away with killing a couple more guys with Oscar and be done with him. Not sure. Let's see. I just haven't finished these guys off. So what you can do with that is, let's say you've got a character who has really low stat caps, and they reach them really quickly. So let's take Oscar as an example. He'll cap skill and speed at 24, and he comes in with 20. And he's like level 9 or 10 or something like that. So you can get those stats capped pretty quickly. He'll be done, especially if you transfer him, he'll have 2 extra in each. So you can have a capped skill, capped speed Oscar by like level 12. And then he goes to a 3rd tier at level 20, which is cool. But what you can do is, if he's got, you know, low stats in other areas that you'd like to beef up a little bit, like, for example, his strength, or his defense, or his resistance, or something like that, and you've already got skill and speed capped, the game can't increase those any further, so it's got to find those 3 stats to feed you somewhere. So it'll usually increase stats that you otherwise wouldn't, or otherwise have a much harder time of increasing. Like, for example, Oscar's got strength issues, Oscar's got defense issues in Radiant Dawn. So once you cap his best stats, you can use bonus experience to beef up his not-so-best ones. And that makes him a lot more well-rounded, a lot more versatile, a lot more usable in general. And you can do that for anybody, not just Oscar. Literally any character can make use of that particular mechanic of bonus experience in Radiant Dawn, which is fantastic. And honestly, when you combine the way bonus experience works in Radiant Dawn with transfers from Path of Radiance, you can make some characters that otherwise might have been kind of lackluster into veritable gods. It's actually insane. I think Jill is a great example of that. Not even Jill necessarily, but like Ilyana, and believe it or not. When you get Ilyana in Radiant Dawn, she's first tier, which means she can benefit from bonus experience at 2 different points. Because she won't cap really any of her tier 1 stats. The caps are just too high, believe it or not. She'll be close, but then when she goes to tier 2, she's a lot closer to making her tier 2 caps, and once you reach those, in the ones that she's likely to cap first, skill and resistance being the most obvious ones, those are her best growths. Once she caps those, then you can start beefing up her kind of lackluster speed. Although she does come with very respectable speed, actually. Her growth's not great, but her base is fantastic. Same with magic. And then once you cap out all the magic-y, like mage-y things, skill, resistance, speed, and magic, then you can focus on increasing her defense. Oh, look at that. Strength and speed capped. Nice. Good job, Boyd. I definitely want to get him capped out if I can. Problem is, I don't know that I'm going to have enough experience to get him and Oscar maxed out. If he's missing that guy, maybe I will. Holy smokes, Oscar, would you please hit him? Boyd, sorry, whatever your name is. There's only 5 guys left? 6 guys left? And I gotta try to get both of them capped out, and they're both at, what, 18? It's gonna be risky. I don't know if I can do it. I think I would rather have Boyd with transfers than Oscar, if I'm being totally honest. Boyd's fantastic in Radiant Dawn. He doesn't need a transfer to be good. He takes a little while to get going, which is sad. Oh, there's more. There's that Halberdier and that Bishop. I think we're okay, because what's Oscar at? He's midway through 18? Oh, he's almost 19. Yeah, okay, I think we're fine. I think we'll make it. I think we're good. Alright, I'm actually gonna send Boyd down here to deal with these guys before they go away. Because then that Killing Edge stupid paladin will keep going for me, but he has nobody else he can go after, really. And Ike's still just face tanking that Halberdier. I'm gonna heal him up a little bit, actually, just for the kicks and grins here. But it's really, like I said, with bonus experience in Radiant Dawn, it's really cool because you can end up with a mage that would otherwise have no chance, not a prayer, of capping something like their strength or their defense or their HP. But between utilizing transfers to get them extra stats and the stuff they're already good at, and abusing bonus experience to increase stats they otherwise wouldn't be very good at increasing, you can basically cap them out completely. And it's incredibly satisfying to have a character like Ilyana with capped stats in everything, including strength, including defense, including HP. So cool. So nice. I'm not going to say it's strictly necessary, unless you're playing on like the hardest difficulties possible, but it's, for me, a lot of the joy that I get from playing this game is raising up the characters from quote-unquote 0 to hero, starting them out kind of, you know, not lackluster, not mediocre, but average, you know, somewhere in that ballpark, and then turning them into unkillable monsters by the time the game is toward the end. That's one of the most satisfying and most enjoyable parts of this series for me, is doing that. Is putting in the effort, putting in the time, and making beastly monsters on the battlefield that just mow through everything you put in front of them. And I know that sounds really strange, but that's just how I feel about it, I suppose. Again, I don't know... Crap, I forgot about Ike, because Ike's not quite capped either, is he? I don't know if Ashnard gives you experience. I should really look that up. In fact, maybe I will. Apologies while I take a moment to research here real quick. It looks to be that Ashnard does not give you experience. It looks like... Oh, yeah, I guess that doesn't... Yeah, that makes sense. Apparently no final boss in the series from Binding Blade onward gives any experience from fighting them, which is sad, but... Oh, he needs one... You know what I could just do is keep having him face tank that Halberdier. Because eventually he'll just reach cap from not fighting. I mean... If he gets 1 XP from dodging... Alright, what do we have left? There's one more paladin up here. There's these 3 right here. And there's that bishop. Yeah, you know what? As weird as that sounds, that might not be the worst idea. I don't know that I want to wait that long, because we're going to be here for a while otherwise, and I don't want to do that to you guys. Let's see what happens. I'm curious, because this will put Boyd over to 19. And then he needs to kill 2 or 3 more to get to cap. I think Oscar needs at least 2 more kills. Well, that won't put him to 19. Shoot. I think Boyd needs the rest of these to cap. So, Oscar, unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to do without. I think I'm going to have to not cap him if I want Boyd and Ike to do it. And I do want Boyd and Ike to do it over him. Race out of the way. Astrid is just not going to happen. Honestly, this is going to sound horrible. And I'm sorry if any of you out there are big Astrid fans. She's not worth using in Radiant Dawn. She just isn't. It's not because... Well, it's not. She's not a great unit. But you don't have her around for very long in Radiant Dawn. She's just never there. Her character availability in Radiant Dawn is really weird because they broke the game up into like 4 parts. And depending which part you're in is what like faction of heroes you're playing with or what faction of units. And they kind of come and go with regards to availability throughout the game. So for certain parts, you'll have access to this group of units, and then you'll leave them alone for a while and come back to another, and then go to another group later, and maybe come back to them again at a later date. But the problem is the group of people that Astrid is a part of is one of the least available groups of people in the entire game. Not the least. That distinct honor goes to 2 units that are from this game that you see for a whopping, I think, 3 chapters out of the entire game, and there's a lot, which is really sad and annoying, but what are you going to do? Let's see. We're going to have... I am going to have Boyd clean these guys up. I wish he had better accuracy. I don't know why his hit rates are so awful. Like, I get it. His skill's not... His skill's far from capped, but holy smokes, he's having a hard time. Getting a hit in and not a kill was actually good. That's milking a little extra XP. I might be able to do something similar with Oscar. Not with that thing. Maybe with this. Nope, that's still too much. What this guy? Oh, the Night Killer. You know... I almost said I could break it off. That sounds really bad, but... not the worst idea in the world, although that... No, you know what? That's not bad at all. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's... How many guys we got left? We got 5. 5 guys. Ooh, that sounds good right now. Just ate lunch before I started recording. I shouldn't be hungry, but... Let's be honest. I always like the idea of 5 guys. Those of you who've never had a 5 Guys burger, you're missing out. Oh, really? Come on. Give me a break, Oscar, you jackwagon. Anyway. I need to heal up Boyd, though. He's looking a little ragged, so let's throw a physic down on him. Not that I'm concerned about him dying from those 3 guys. Between them missing and them only doing maybe 3 or 4 damage a hit, I'm not worried, but better safe than sorry. Hey, look, a level up for Alincia. That's actually not bad. Shame she didn't get strength, but... Yeah, it's funny. She has that personal sword that is a brave weapon, but she's weighed down by it by 3 points starting out, which is not great. Because her speed's already not enough to double anything. But what are you going to do? Alright, so I'm going to keep letting Ike face tank until I get Boyd capped out, which he may need to get the rest of these kills. It stinks, but what are you going to do? I don't see any other way around it. I seem to recall these guys... I just did this level not that long ago. I seem to recall them giving you a lot more experience than this. Because, oh, he's going to heal himself. Interesting. Forgot they could do that. Where's he going? To steal the vulnerary and get... Yeah, I forgot all about that. Thankfully, I don't think they can steal many from other people because Ashnard doesn't have a healing item. And there's only 3 vulneraries per use to go, or per item to go around, so it's not like they can do that for very much longer. There's no more healers on the map, because I killed them all. It's a shame, actually, too, because that bishop that I killed just a little bit ago had the max tier light magic that you will never get to see, unfortunately, but you're not missing anything. Put it that way. It's not really all that impressive, and it's not worth it. So, let's just have Boyd wrap these suckers up. And then I can worry about getting everybody moved up to that final dais up there to finish off Ashnard. Which, as long as Ike gets a ether proc, won't take that long. He looks a lot meatier and beefier than he actually is. 19 Boyd, that's skill. He's not going to cap it. He'll get close, but he won't cap it. I do like that he's capped strength and speed, though. That's a big deal. Speed especially. Having a little extra speed on Boyd for Radiant Dawn is fantastic. Alright, let's bring these guys over here, I suppose. You know, I could leave Oscar around to rescue Ike to get him moved up quicker, although he's got the C move in his Gifka, and I'm also bringing Gifka up there. Yeah, but he doesn't move again, and Oscar does. I'll just leave Oscar right there, it's fine. So let's, you know, this is, again, I'm sorry for putting you guys through this, but I want to make sure Boyd caps. I want to make sure Ike caps. What is he doing? Just running away like a jerk? Right, come over here. Mister, I have a killing edge. Or no, he's a steel sword. I thought he had a killing edge for some reason. I think with those remaining 3, 4 guys... Are you kidding me, Boyd? What is your deal, man? Good lord, man. This is unbelievable. The nice thing, though, is I can get Ike to max level just by letting him base tank. It'll take another 12 turns. I guess if Boyd reaches cap before I'm done with all the other guys, then I can just let Ike kill that guy. Which, he might. I don't know. We'll see. It's possible he caps with these other 3 paladins he's got to kill, so... No, you gotta be kidding me. What? I didn't even... Did you guys see what his hit rate was? Because I missed it. Speaking of missing, Boyd. Dude, we gotta talk about this. This is ridiculous. This is utterly ridiculous. Well, the other paladin has nowhere else to go and no vulnerary, so he should start working his way back over here. Make a big... There we go. Good. Good. Lord. I don't think... That's absurd. I don't... You should not be having this kind of hit rate issues this late into the game. You just shouldn't. Yeah, I think he's gonna need to kill that halberdier in order to cap too. He'll get there, but he's gonna need the rest of these kills. That stinks. I would have really liked to have gotten Oscar and Boyd capped out, but it's just not in the cards, it looks like. The important thing is that we got Jill, Ilyana, and Nephany up there as well. And Soth is maxed out for a transfer. Boyd will be, so will Ike. So that's good enough. I can live with that. Is it ideal? No, but it's what it is. Would you stop missing Boyd? The worst part, too, is he's got 24 skill. He doesn't have, like, a low skill number. His skill is plenty fine. He just can't hit the broadside of a barn. Alright. So, we're just gonna have Ike face tank this guy a little bit longer. I guess I could have brought a different weapon for him to use. And briefly hit that paladin, or even that halberdier, and get a little extra XP. Do I have anything he can use that someone else can give him? I don't think I do, sadly. Check. What is that sword that Mist has? Is that an iron sword? 13 might? 13 might with 24 strength is 37 attack. 36 because I'll disadvantage, and that guy's got 14. So 22? Yeah, that still kills him. Darn it. Who else has a sword? Marsha's got a 10 might sword. So that becomes... what? 34? 33. It becomes 19 twice. That's still... no, that would do it. That would work. Why didn't I do that before now? That's silly of me. Well, you know what they say. Actually, no, I don't. What do they say? So, let's get that squared away. Because then I can just have Ike... oh, if he procs Ether, though... shoot. There's no way to guarantee he won't, either. Especially with his cap skill. Yeah, I guess I'm just gonna have to sit here and face tank him for a little longer. Sorry. I'll have Boyd go finish off that other paladin real quick. And he can come back and deal with that one. And I'll leave Rayson on standby for quicker maneuverability here. We'll have Mist for extra healing, because we're probably going to need that for Ashnard. Especially considering he hits like a veritable truck. So this is going to be probably an hour-long episode. I apologize in advance. Like I said, this was not the intention, but you know how it goes. It stinks that there's not... you would think there would be reinforcements on this map. You'd think there would be, but there's not. I guess there are no soldiers left because Ashnard literally has gotten all of them killed pretty much. It's absurd. I don't... does he explain in this game his motivations for just throwing his whole army away like he has been? I think he does, but I don't remember. Here you go. Come on, buddy, let's do this. He's even got an axe. Good luck. Do I have a silver axe? Yeah, that's fine. Alrighty, so a few more turns and then we can start getting Ike the heck out of dodge. Again, sorry for making you sit through waiting for this guy to nickel and dime me to my experience cap, but, you know, it occurs to me that if I hadn't let Ilyana kill Bryce like she did, this wouldn't have been a problem. In fact, a Bryce level would have allowed probably Oscar to get capped too, if he'd gotten the kill on him, or if Ike had gotten the kill and not killed all the other guys that he did. Very well could have gotten all of them. What are you gonna do? Like I said, not capping Oscar is not that consequential. He's still plenty usable even without the stat increases. Especially skill and speed, because he'll cap those anyway. So, and Silver Axe broke, big deal, whatever. Alright, let's get Boyd down here to finish that guy off. We'll start moving in all my healers. Forgot if you walk up here, he starts yelling at you. Enjoy my might to your heart's content, he says. And again, thankfully he doesn't move, otherwise Mist would be in some serious trouble. Part of me wants to, like, go up there and move her anyway, but I know for a fact he doesn't move. So it's not like it's a big deal. Let's get Elincia up here. And Ike needs to face tank 8 more times. Hopefully this will speed things up a little bit, now that there's no other things for me to worry about killing. Still don't get why you don't at least get XP for hitting Ashnard. It does make sense. It does. I'm not going to pretend that it doesn't, but it's still annoying, so. Put Mist right there. Get Boyd down here. We have Rayson on standby to allow Ike to get moved up a little quicker. And continue to face tank. You know what? Just in case he decides... Nope, that won't work. That will. Just in case he decides to attack me and not Ike. I don't know why. But I don't want him accidentally killing me. Or me killing him, rather. Yeah, I would have liked to have just let Ike hit him once, but I can't guarantee that he won't ether and kill him, and that would be bad, so... C'est la vie, ladies and gentlemen. You know, I'm gonna have Gifka rescue Nasir, but he can't do it when he's transformed. So there is that. I do have a Lagoo Stone, though, so it's no big deal. Get Elincia up here, ready to go. She does have a battle quote with Ashnard, but if you put Elincia in combat with Ashnard, you're out of your mind. Not only can she not even hurt him, but she's in danger of getting single shot by him. Even with her increases to defense, he's got so much attack, he just outright slaughters her. It's really a shame because, you know how cathartic it would be to have Elincia kill the guy who killed her parents and took away her homeland from her? It would be incredibly just cathartic and just perfect. But sadly, it's not possible. No matter what you do, so. Good job, Boyd. Good job, Boyd, getting healed by that flying bird. As opposed to the not flying bird. What am I talking about? Good lord, don't listen to me. Alright, so we're just gonna run out the clock here so that guy to punch Ike a few more times, and then we'll have Ike huck a or not Ike, we'll have Boyd huck a tomahawk at him, finish him off, and then we'll go get Ashnard. And then that'll be the end of this playthrough. Good times. And like I said, I'll probably do the epilogue in a separate episode so that if you don't want to sit through it, you don't have to. It's pretty cool to watch, though. I will not deny. And then I will very briefly at the end of that video go over the New Game Plus differences, because there are a couple. They're not very many, but there's a couple. But there's one very significant one. And in fact, that said significant one, I think, made a huge difference in my transfer run. It doesn't... When you look at it, too... I know I'm hyping it up. When you look at the inclusion of this extra feature you get during a New Game Plus, it doesn't seem that impactful. It doesn't seem like that big of a deal. In fact, it seems pretty minor by comparison. But when you factor in the impact it can have across the entire scope of a playthrough, it really can make a huge difference. And I'm convinced at this point, looking at the stat caps that I have in this playthrough versus the one I just did on my physical copy of the game, it's staggering how much of a difference it made in the long run. Maybe it was just me getting lucky. It very well could. You could just as easily get the stat caps that I experienced in a initial playthrough without that extra bonus. But you need to have an incredible level of luck. And this may come as a shock to you guys. I am not a particularly lucky person with regards to anything, really, not just gaming, but any facet of my life. Luck is not something I've often been fortunate to have a great deal of. That is a capped Ike. Still didn't get a strength point, so he's going to be shy a little bit, but that's okay. He'll do a little less damage to Ashnard as a result, but that is not that big of a deal. And here we're about to have a capped Boyd. As soon as I huck this axe at his face. That guy's face, not Boyd's face, because Boyd's the one doing the hucking. The tomahawk looks so cool in this game. I really like the fact, and they've done it since then, but this was the first Fire Emblem game not only to have three-dimensional character models, but to have unique models for all the weapons. Man, if I only had a Draco shield, I could cap his defense. That would have been perfect. I'm all out of stat up items, aren't I? I'm pretty sure I used them all before we even deployed. Anyway, Cap Boyd, strength and speed transfer and HP, but that's less consequential. Sorry, Oscar. I would have really liked to have gotten you there, but... let's move Ike up a little bit first, and then... Can I rescue Nasir with Gifka? That is the other question. Yes, I can. Perfect. And then what I'll do, watch this. Oh, it doesn't matter because Raisin's not transformed. He waited one more turn. I could have got both of them up there even quicker. That would have been nice. But what will you do? And now we can go see Ashnard in action in all of his brutal glory. Can't really think of any more appropriate way to describe it than that. And again, as much as I would love to be able to use all these people I put all this effort into, Ilyana and Jill and whatnot, they can't even hurt him, so what's the point? Let's get Gifka up here. I do appreciate that he runs really far. He moves as fast as a cavalry unit, and he's a giant lion. Giant, beastly black lion, super cool. I think Lagoos are a really neat concept to the game. This is the only ones that do it. There aren't... Well, that's true and it isn't. So, there are other games in the series that have people that are capable of transforming into beasts. Most notably is, well, I mean, Manicheets. You've seen those in Sacred Stones. With regards to Myr, in that she is a tiny little girl that can turn into a dragon with the assistance of a dragon stone. There have been Manicheets in the series since the beginning, since the very first game. The first game had Tiki, who is a Manicheet little girl who turns into a dragon. I believe nearly every installment has at least one. Particularly Manicheets, not necessarily, but Awakening introduced the Togwell, which is a bunny. Literally, there's only two. Potentially a third one. But they're literally people that activate a beast stone and turn into giant rabbits. That are actually kind of cool. It sounds weird, I know, but it's actually awesome. But that's in Awakening. Fates has Kitsune, which turn into foxes, and wolf skins, which turn into giant wolf-looking creatures. I don't know if it's accurate to call them wolf creatures, because they don't really look all that much like wolves. I don't know. But anyway, Fire Emblem has traditionally done something to that vein where they'll have characters that can transform into animals or some other kind of or dragons or something like that. Let's have Ike take a swing at Ashnard. Maybe I'll get lucky and get an ether proc. And Ashnard is freaking huge. Not just the wyvern he's on, his own character model is massive. And that sword he has is unbelievable. I'm like, how does he even swing that stupid thing? You possess the strength to do so, then so be it. So Ashnard... Oh, wow, I did get an ether proc. Wasn't expecting to get one that quick. Thwack! Like, look at that thing, it's huge! Just ridiculous. Winds up and beat me half to death with that stupid thing. So it is entirely possible that Ike will just take Ashnard to town next turn. That'd be cool. It's not gonna happen, but it'd be cool. That'll make the game a lot shorter, that's for sure. I won't need to show you as much as I would like to. You know what? Actually, they're right here. I can show you Gifka in action. And Gifka is awesome sauce. You thought like Mordecai or Morim were awesome in their giant tigery forms? Get a load of this dude. Let's send Gifka in there. Again, I don't know why he's capable of hurting Ashnard, but he is, so. And he can even take 2 hits from him and survive. So I won't need to worry about healing him after this. Look at this beast! The Lion King's shadow. I love this line. He's like, your strength is not sufficient. That is why I am here. My king is way stronger than you, and not, quite frankly, you're not worth his time, so here I am instead. This imposter will measure your... God, Gifka's so awesome. Look at this. Wrecked. He's like literally a freaking wrecking ball. And he's like the size of that wyvern mount that he's on. He's that big. He's absurd. Alright, Oscar, you can go away now. We don't need you anymore. Sorry, buddy. Alright, so I'm guessing Ashnard will attack Ike. And then if Ike procs Ether, that's GG. And if he attacks Gifka, then he won't die, but he'll be pretty close to GG. He's going for Ike. No surprise. Thankfully, Ashnard cannot crit me either. That would be terrifying. I think we'll let Nasir get a hit in on just for kicks and grins here. So I'm going to pop a Lagoose Stone. And then we can Heron him up. I don't know how much damage does he. I don't know how much damage he does actually. I think a decent chunk. He's got 40 attack. Ashnard's he'll have 5. That will let Ike finish him off, yep, so that will be fine. And here we come, ladies and gentlemen, to the end of the game, pretty much. Now this final battle's a little anticlimactic. To be fair, though, I guess the final battle against the Demon King was kind of anticlimactic, too, in Sacred Stones, wasn't it? You know, it's sad because there's a lot of boss fights that don't really feel all that impactful. This is one of them. Especially all the build-up that Ashnard has, and how, like, absurdly strong he is, and how terrifying he is, and all this other shmoo. I will say, though, if you fight Ashnard in... Ooh, I like Dragon. If you fight Ashnard in hard mode, or in Maniac mode in, Japan, in the Japanese version, Ashnard's actually a lot more difficult. Because what happens is... you beat Ashnard in this form first. He has pretty much the same stats, I think, maybe a couple points extra, I'm not sure. But once you beat Ashnard in this regular form, he will take the medallion that he has, he actually has it right now, and he'll touch it and go nuts, go berserk and go crazy pants mode. And he'll come back and you need to fight him a second time, just him, and he moves and his stats get even higher. Like, I think he goes... above 40 strength, above 40 defense. He gets a little faster. Still not enough to double anybody with capped speed anyway. You can't double Ike or anything. But then you need to beat him a second time with more HP, more stats, and he's brutal. Absolutely brutal. And that is when it really feels like a true boss. Like, I almost feel like they intended for you to fight Ashnard in hard mode. Because fighting him in normal mode like this, it doesn't feel nearly as impactful. But fighting him in hard mode, as I've done it before, I have beat this game in hard mode. It's a very different experience fighting Ashnard when he's in that berserker medallion-induced state. I love even this. He's like, more, more. Oh, I'm dead. What a darn shame. Thump. So that's it, everybody. GG, that is Path of Radiance complete. Now, it is truly over. Alright, so we'll go ahead and do the quick little final cutscene here, and then we'll go into the epilogue, and that'll be a separate episode. If you don't want to watch that, don't feel like you have to, but... So, Ashnard, the King of Daein, the Mad King, is dead. But his mount is still alive. And Ina is going right toward it for some silly reason. Oh, she's giving it a hug. So, as we're aware, Ina is a dragon. And turns out King Ashnard's mount is not just any run-of-the-mill wyvern. He's actually something else. That is her mate, as Nasir says. So what happened is, you'll notice in that interaction with Nasir and King Ashnard, he was asking Ashnard for the cure for this process that he created, or that Izuka created, rather, to twist Laguz into their feral, permanently transformed forms. Rajayan. I don't know if that's... I assume that's how you pronounce it. Rajayan? Something like that. That's the name of the twisted dragon you see there. So Rajayan actually is not a wyvern. He is a dragon Laguz. And he was betrothed to Ina, but he was captured by the... somehow kidnapped by the king of Daein and twisted into that horrible, like, just permanently terrifying, awful form that he's in right now. And so Leanne is mentioning to Rayson that's what's happening, and Rayson can't believe. He's like, wait, what? Fun fact, too, I don't know if I mentioned this before, the text you're seeing that Leanne is speaking, like it's supposed to be some different language that you can understand, it's actually written in plain English. But it's using a font that is illegible. It's actually funny. If you take that, what she's saying, and put it, transform it into a regular legible font, you can plainly read what she's saying. It's hilarious. Same thing with Rayson right there. So Rayson and Leanne here are going to attempt the Galder of Rebirth. I don't know why that was so quiet, but I'm sure you guys probably couldn't barely hear that. But it was the same song they sang when they were in the center of Serenus Forest and brought the Forest back to life. Now they have restored Rajayan to his normal form. There you can see he is a... well, that's his humanoid form, but he is a dragon Lagoose. Though it's not clearly evident here, at least I don't, maybe it is, maybe it is. So they restore Rajayan to his normal form, but unfortunately, as a result of the battle, he still ends up dying. And Ina is very distraught about that because they were supposed to be married. Another fun fact too: Rajayan actually was the crown prince of Goldoa. He is King Daginsia's oldest son, and he's Kurth Naga's older brother. They don't tell you that in this particular scene. You'll find out very much later in Radiant Dawn, but that's who that was. So why the Dragon King did not intervene himself to rescue his own son? Kind of sad to suggest the fact that he doesn't care, but apparently he didn't, so... And here's Mist looking around and finding her medallion. That we know is not just a family keepsake anymore. She knows what it is and what it's capable of, but she's the only one who can safely hang on to it. Actually, no, she does. She gives it away to Rayson and Leanne right here. Because it's actually something that was meant to be guarded and kept by the Heron clan. Considering they're the ones who made it. So Mist eventually ends up handing over the medallion back to Rayson and Leanne for them to hang on to. Alright, so that is the end of the game as far as the actual gameplay. This is where we're going to call it for right now. I hope you enjoyed this finale and got a little bit of closure, finally, with the end of the series. We're going to go ahead and watch the epilogue in the last episode, and I'll touch on a little bit of the New Game Plus features. So if you're interested in watching that, feel free to tune in for one more. If not, you can skip it. I won't hold it against you. All we're going to see is some farewells from the characters and some unit logs and records. Like I said, no character endings because there is a sequel and they intended that going forward. So there will be no, like, what happened to this character once the game is over. You won't get to see that till the next game. So watch the epilogue if you want. If not, I'd understand. So I will see you then. And until that time, thank you very much for watching. Happy end to the series, and I will see you guys in the next one. Until that time, this has been Seraphin. Stay classy, internets.